Hi everyone, welcome back to the Hidden Motives crime series. Today, we're uncovering another deeply saddening case and the hidden truths behind it. In the heart of Alton, Illinois, a town where the Mississippi River whispers secrets to the shore, a young woman's dreams were shattered in the most unimaginable way. On a warm June evening in 2022, a mother's instinct led to a discovery that would haunt a community forever. This is the story of Lee Dodd, a life cut short and the shadows that linger in its wake. Imagine a knock that goes unanswered, a door creaking open to reveal horror beyond comprehension. Lee Dodd, 22, and radiant with impending motherhood, lay lifeless in her new home, her body mutilated, her head severed and discarded like refuse. But who could commit such an act, and why? As the sun set on Bolivar Street, the answers would unravel, a tale of love turned lethal. Lee Anne Dodd was born on August 14, 1999, right here in Alton, Illinois. Her mom, Heidi Noel, her maiden name was Zipman, brought her into this close-knit Rivertown life. They spent time in nearby Jerseyville too. The kind of place where everyone knows each other, family gets together a lot, you watch sunsets over the water, and things just move at a steady, familiar pace. That's the kind of upbringing that builds quiet, solid people. From when she was little, Lise had this way about her that pulled people in. Her sister Shelby still talks about how she was just amazing, always there for everybody, making things feel a little warmer and easier. She really was one of those people with a huge heart. She'd drop everything to help a friend or just sit and listen if someone needed it. People who knew her said she had this sassy side, quick with a comeback. But underneath it, she cared so deeply. Her mom Heidi put it simply back then. She was just a bright light that cared for everyone. That light showed up strongest in what she wanted for her life. At 22, she was working toward becoming a medical professional. She wanted to help people when they were hurting, to be there for families going through tough stuff, the same way she naturally showed up for the people around her. She studied hard, stayed focused, and you could tell she pictured this future where she was making real differences. Then in spring 2022, she made a big move, got her own apartment on Bolivar Street in Alton. Nothing fancy, but it was hers. Sunny, a place to finally settle in and do things her way. She put soft blankets around, probably some plants by the windows, little things that made it feel like home. And she was stacking up baby stuff, getting ready. It felt like a real fresh start after some rough patches. Because she was 8 months pregnant with a little girl, she called Baby Bean. That nickname was so her, sweet, playful, full of that private mom joy. The baby was due in July, just a few weeks off, and Lise carried her with this quiet, proud glow. In the pictures from those last months, you see her hand on her belly, that soft smile, like she already loved this kid more than anything. Her mom and the whole family were thrilled. They had a baby shower planned for the end of June. Balloons, little games, tiny clothes wrapped up, everybody laughing and excited for what was coming. Lise would talk about being a mom with this mix of excitement and her usual sass. She pictured the first cries, the middle of the night feedings, those little fingers grabbing hers. Baby Bean wasn't just any baby. She was this whole new chapter of love and family moving forward. And yeah, officials later confirmed the baby wasn't fathered by her on-again, off-again boyfriend, D'Andrea Holloway. Lise was set on doing this right, building a safe, loving life for her daughter, no matter what came before. D'Andrea was 22 at the time, and they'd been in each other's lives for about 2 years. It wasn't steady. There were big ups and downs, arguments that got loud enough for neighbors to hear through the walls. People on Bolivar got used to it, but nobody thought it would turn into what it did. Heidi had stepped in more than once, talking straight to him about how he was treating her daughter. She saw how it wore Lise down sometimes, dimmed that spark. Later, Heidi said it plain. This didn't have to end this way. My daughter should be here raising her toddler. But even with those rough spots, Lise stayed hopeful. She kept her eyes on what was ahead, her medical goals, fixing up her place, finalizing shower invites. She was putting together something strong, something that was truly hers. In those last weeks, she just had this sense of purpose. A soon-to-be mom, sassy and full of love, ready to bring her little girl into a world she planned to make better. June 9, 2022, started off like any other late spring day in Alton. It was warm, the kind of sticky heat that settles in, with the Mississippi River just moving along slow in the background. Lise was 8 months along, getting used to her new place on Bolivar Street. She probably spent the day doing the usual stuff, maybe resting on the couch, texting family or friends, folding some of those tiny baby clothes for the shower coming up soon. Just a normal Thursday for her. As it got toward evening, around dusk, D'Andrea Holloway showed up at the apartment. Whatever happened between them in those last hours, no one really knows the details because he never talked about it publicly. But things turned violent fast and brutal. Lise was killed right there. Then, in what shocked even the experienced cops, he decapitated her body and put her head in a dumpster outside the complex. It was a deliberate attempt to hide what he'd done. The night kept going like nothing had changed. Texts from family and friends sat unread. Phone calls went straight to voicemail. Heidi, Lisa's mom, started feeling that first little knot of worry, which quickly turned into real panic. She drove over to Bolivar Street, heart racing, knocked on the door. No answer, so she went in. What she saw was beyond anything anyone should have to see. Her daughter's decapitated body in the living room. Heidi screamed. The neighbor right next door, April Wooten, heard it and came running over. She later remembered Heidi turning to them, devastated, saying something like, "He killed her." Police and paramedics got there quick, but it was already too late. Cops taped off the building, lights flashing in the dark, and the news started spreading through that small town fast. Holloway had taken off by then. That same evening, about 30 miles away in Gillespie, Illinois, he got pulled over by local police for something unrelated, stealing a bike. When they asked for his ID, he wouldn't give his name. He was sitting in custody there, probably not realizing yet that detectives from Alton were piecing it all together. By late that night, from witness accounts, phone records, and everything at the scene, they had him tied to the murder. They arrested him quick, and in just a few frantic hours, everything had changed forever for so many people. In the hours and days right after what happened on Bolivar Street, the Alton Police Department kicked into gear with real focus and urgency. Then Chief Marcos Pulido came out and spoke to everyone publicly. He looked shaken up. You could tell it hit him hard. He called the guy who did it a savage
What was
monster
observed
and said what happened to Lise and her unborn baby was beyond reprehensible, just straight up awful.
What was
He talked about how brutal it was. A young woman killed so violently, her body mutilated, her little girl gone before she even had a chance.
Murder
Those words landed heavy
terrible.
in a town like Alton, where stuff like
We'll
this
never take
just
that
doesn't
away.
happen. The investigators didn't waste time. They went door to door around the 3400 block of Bolivar, talking to neighbors who'd heard the arguments coming from Lisa's place for a while. April Wooten, the one next door, told them about running over when she heard Heidi screaming, how Heidi came out broken and just said, "He killed her." Other people said the same thing. The yelling between Lise and D'Andrea had become so regular that it blended into the background. Nobody thought to call the cops that night because it felt like just another fight. They pulled in help from everywhere: the Madison County Sheriff's Office, Illinois State Police Forensics Team, even officers from Litchfield and Gillespie. Phone records put Holloway right there during the time it happened. People saw him around the dumpster where they later found Lisa's head. And after everything went down, he'd headed about 30 miles to Gillespie, where he got picked up for stealing a bike and wouldn't even give his name. That's where they connected the dots and got him. The evidence kept piling up piece by piece. They learned more about the relationship, 2 years of back and forth, ups and downs, Heidi trying to warn him and step in, all that control and fighting. But the big question everyone had was why it exploded like that on that specific night. Holloway didn't say much at first. He stayed quiet while the charges stacked up. 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 for the intentional homicide of an unborn child, dismembering a body, hiding the crime, and more. The whole thing rocked Alton. This is a place where people are used to quiet river life, knowing your neighbors, feeling safe. Suddenly, everyone was facing the fact that something this dark could hide right under the surface. As the case came together, it became clear. This wasn't some random act. It was the terrible end of a toxic relationship that had been building for too long, one that nobody managed to stop before it was too late. In those quiet rooms at the Illinois State Police Forensics Lab, under the bright fluorescent lights, the evidence started filling in the gaps where no one was talking. The autopsy backed up what the apartment already looked like. Lee's died from a combination of heavy blunt force hits and some sharp trauma. The blows came hard and fast. Investigators said death probably happened quickly, which was about the only small mercy in it. The decapitation came after she was gone. It was a separate step, something done on purpose to try to hide who she was or slow down anyone finding out, not just some wild moment during the attack. Blood patterns in the living room told more of the story. There was a main spot with that high-speed spatter you get from repeated hard impacts, right near where her body ended up. Cast-off stains showed swinging motions, like something being used over and over with real force. Then there were smaller stains here and there that looked like someone tried to clean up, move things around, cover tracks afterward. The dumpster outside gave them the worst part. Lisa's head. Found pretty quick after the body. It was in good enough shape for them to ID her both by looking and with science. Trace stuff from the scene and on Holloway linked him straight in. His DNA on her clothes, on things in the apartment, places that fit with being right there during the struggle. No specific murder weapon ever got named in what came out publicly or in court papers, but the dismemberment charge meant he used something sharp enough for that post-mortem part. Maybe whatever was already around the apartment, or something he had on him. One thing that stuck out in all the reports, there weren't really any typical defensive wounds on her hands or arms. That could mean she got surprised, knocked out fast, or just overwhelmed before she could fight back much. But the level of it all, the sheer number of blows then going further with the mutilation, pointed to something deeply personal and angry, not some cold, random thing. All those pieces lined up clear. Holloway was there, he delivered the fatal hits, he did the dismemberment, he tried to hide it. The forensics laid out exactly how it went down with brutal detail. But they couldn't touch the why. That stayed locked up with him. He never really explained it. No case is ever as straightforward as the evidence file makes it look. Once the investigation handed off to the courts, little cracks started showing up. Small ones at first, then bigger ones, turning the story into something messier than just the physical proof could cover. D'Andrea Holloway's mental health became the biggest thing people noticed right away. Just a few months after they arrested him, the court said twice that he wasn't fit to stand trial. Evaluations described serious psychological problems. They sent him to a state psychiatric facility to get treatment. For more than a year, everything was on hold. Competency hearings, trying to get him stable enough to go forward. By early 2023, prosecutors said he was restored, that he understood the charges and could help his lawyers. But the defense kept pushing the mental illness angle hard, not as a full excuse, but as something that had to be part of understanding what happened. Years later, when Heidi Noel gave her victim impact statement, she didn't hold back. Sad that you thought your mental instability was a free pass to do what you did. The neighborhood had its own complicated side too. People on Boulevard Street had been hearing the arguments for months, yelling, doors slamming, the same old back and forth. But nobody called the police that night of June 9th. It had just become normal background noise. One neighbor told reporters later, "We'd hear yelling, but we never thought it would come to this." That left everyone asking hard questions. How many red flags get ignored when fighting at home turns into everyday stuff? How close is the line between minding your own business and missing something dangerous? Then there was the paternity thing. Early on, they confirmed baby Bean wasn't Holloway's. That detail hit different. It wasn't some quiet footnote. If it wasn't jealousy over being the father, then what set him off? Was it losing control? Her moving on without him? Some last-ditch, messed-up way of trying to keep her in his life? He never explained it, never gave a real answer. Prosecutors built their case around the long history of an abusive, up-and-down relationship, but without that biological connection to the baby. Even the clearest story had this lingering question mark over the motive. None of this changed the facts or weakened the case. The forensics, the phone records, the witnesses, it all still pointed straight at him. Guilt wasn't in doubt. But these pieces did make things feel less tidy. They reminded people that even the worst actions don't always follow a clean line. You can have all the DNA and blood evidence in the world and still not fully get the why. In those quiet spaces between what's proven and what's not said, a little doubt slips in, not about what happened, but about the whole messy human side of it. Motive is that one thing in every true crime story that just hangs there. You can see the outline of it in the evidence, but you never quite grab hold of the full thing. The prosecutors didn't need Dondria Holloway to admit anything out loud. The physical evidence and all the circumstances around it were rock solid. Still, when you look through the court papers, the hearings, and especially what Heidi Noel said, a clear picture comes into focus. A domestic violence situation that kept building, with nobody stepping in hard enough to stop it until it turned deadly. For almost 2 years, Lee and Holloway were caught in that same cycle so many people know too well. Really intense good times, blowout fights, breaking up for a bit, then getting back together even though it hurt. Heidi watched it happen up close. She didn't just sit back. She went straight to Holloway more than once and told him flat out how he was treating her daughter. She said it plain, out of pure worry as a mom. He didn't listen. They kept going around in that same orbit. By June 2022, Lise was 8 months pregnant with a baby girl everyone now knew wasn't his. She just moved into her own place on Bolivar Street. Not just a new address, but a real move toward doing things her way. She was setting up the apartment, getting ready for the baby shower, excited to bring baby Bean home and build the life she wanted for both of them. For someone who's used to being in control, that probably felt like everything's slipping away. His hold on her, his place in her world, the relationship he wanted to keep on his terms. Prosecutors put it together like this: jealousy over the pregnancy, anger at being pushed aside, fury that she was finally walking away for good. There's no record of one big final fight that night, no leaked text or call that spells out the exact breaking point. But what happened next felt like possession gone completely wrong. She was killed in the place she was making safe for herself and her baby, her body cut up in a way that was meant to shock and slow down anyone finding her. And her little girl lost too. When Heidi gave her victim impact statement years later, she put it simply and straight: a tragic outcome of a 2-year on and off again domestic violence relationship. She didn't sound bitter, just deeply sad and clear-eyed. It was the same pattern you see in so many cases: control that tightens, fights that get worse, warning signs everybody sees but nobody acts on strong enough. It didn't make what he did okay, it just made it understandable enough for the court to do what it had to. But the real deepest why, the exact thing that flipped in his head that evening, that's still his. He's never said it out in the open. The courts didn't need him to. They sentenced him on what they could prove beyond doubt, not on whatever went unspoken in that room between just the two of them. Some things stay locked there forever. The justice process moved slowly, but it did move. Dondria Holloway was charged on June 13, 2022, in Madison County Circuit Court. The full indictment followed soon after: 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of intentional homicide of an unborn child, dismembering a human body, and concealment of a homicidal death. Competency issues slowed everything almost immediately. In September 2022, he was found unfit to stand trial and sent to a state psychiatric facility for treatment. A second hearing reached the same result. For over a year, the case stayed frozen: evaluations, hearings, restoration efforts, while Lisa's family waited in painful uncertainty. An Illinois Supreme Court ruling added another layer. An unborn child couldn't count as a separate victim under the multiple murder statute for mandatory life without parole, so prosecutors adjusted their plan. By early 2023, Holloway was ruled fit again. On December 16, 2024, he pleaded guilty to 3 counts. First-degree murder, 30 years at 100%. Intentional homicide of an unborn child, 20 years, good time eligible at 85%. Concealment of a homicidal death, 10 years, good time eligible at 50%. The sentences run consecutive, 60 years total. On January 17, 2025, Judge Neil Schroeder accepted the plea and imposed the sentence. He praised the Alton police's thorough investigation and noted the immense loss. Holloway, then 25, stayed silent. Heidi Knoll's victim impact statement stayed with everyone who heard it. Speaking directly to Holloway, her voice steady through the grief, she said, "On that night, I received a life sentence to live the remainder of my life without my beautiful, loving, sassy daughter." She spoke of Lisa's laugh, her dreams, the future stolen from her and baby Bean. No hate, just sorrow and clarity. "I don't hate you," she told him. "I hate what you did." The sentence gave the case a legal end. It couldn't give back what was taken. DeAndrea Holloway went into prison at 25. He started his 60-year sentence on January 17, 2025. 30 years locked in for sure, the rest depending on how he does his time. For all intents and purposes, his life outside Alton ended that day. For Lisa's family, though, there's no real end to it. Heidi Noel took her pain and turned it outward. She started talking openly about the red flags she'd seen and the ones everyone else let slide. "If someone threatens your life," she said, "believe them." It wasn't about revenge, it was about making sure other women, families, neighbors don't stay quiet when things feel off. She's pushing people to trust their gut instead of brushing danger aside like it's normal. Liz and baby Bean were buried together. The baby shower never took place. The medical career she was working toward, the nursery she was setting up, the first little birthday in July 2023, all gone in one night. What's left are the memories. Her sassy laugh, her huge heart, how she was always there for people. Family and friends still share those photos. Lise smiling, hand on her belly, looking so full of hope for what was ahead. Alton still feels the mark of it. Boulevard Street looks the same. Quiet apartments, river air, life going on. But Lisa's name comes up when people talk about safety now, about really hearing someone when they're hurting. A town that used to tune out the yelling has had to face how violence can hide right in the open. The hardest questions just won't go away. What were the last words said in that apartment? Why go as far as decapitation? Was it pure rage, something planned, or worse? Did his mental health issues explain it, hide the real reason, or just complicate things? Would one call, one person stepping in harder, one different moment have stopped it? No court paper, no report, no hearing has given answers. They hang there like echoes over the river. Maybe they always will. On Boulevard Street, in the stories people still tell, Lisa's light hasn't gone out completely. A bright, loving, sassy young woman who wanted to help heal people, who carried her baby girl with so much hope, who deserved way more than that one terrible night. If you found this story meaningful, join our community by subscribing and turning on notifications. Every subscriber helps us continue sharing stories that matter.